So what I'm looking at today is the brake and clutch fluid reservoirs. If you start to get rid of the standard brake master cylinder on the Escort MK2 and you're going for a standalone pedal box, you're going to need somewhere to mount the brake reservoirs. Now again, you can look at 100 different Escorts with individual pedal boxes or separate pedal boxes, and you'll see 100 different ways of setting up this bracket to hold the reservoirs. Here you can see is the most kind of common. There's like a bracket that comes down that holds the three independent reservoirs. You've got a brake front, brake rear, and then a clutch, or whatever way you want to have it. But this bracket is for sale through Historic Motorsport. This particular one at the moment is £30 for the bracket that holds the three reservoirs. I think the three reservoirs will come separately. I've gone with something a little bit like this, but there's many ways of doing it. There's this bracket, there's like this is also a common option. It's just like a flat bar that's mounted to the bonnet hinge bracket one side and the plenum chamber the other, and then it's just got three clamps that hold the reservoirs in. Also here you can see there's just a bracket that's been, will be bolted to the inside of the panel here. But there's many ways of doing it, and I'll show you how I did it, but there's no real right or wrong way of doing this. Here you can see that they've just got a welded bar. That might be quite a nice option. I looked at all these, but for me the easiest was going to be the method that I did. Took a little bit more time to make the bracket, but let's dive in there and have a look. So right now we're working on the stand for the reservoirs, brake fluid reservoirs and the clutch reservoirs. This problem, or making this stand, has been a bit of a problem for a good while. I've been scratching my head about which is the best way to go about such a thing. A lot of people run a bar from the plenum chamber across to the support here, and then they have the reservoirs that are mounted to that bar with a clamp, and they sit around here. I wasn't particularly satisfied with that layout. I don't have the clamps. I already had these lying around which I wanted to utilize, and yeah, it didn't look too great. So just having a look, scratching my head, come up with this idea. Basically this is going to be removable. It's going to be made out of steel, and as you can see it fits in, can't really see, but it fits in all the gaps, so it's kind of going to be kind of airtight when it's complete, but it is going to be removable, and there's going to be two captive nuts welded to the chassis underneath. There's going to be two holes. They'll go through and then secure this down nice and tight. The issue with doing all this is you basically have to have a nut on the bottom of here to hold this steady. Now if you don't have this and you just have this going into the cabin, basically you're going to have to put a nut from inside the cabin, and then once you've got the nut in to secure it, it's going to be slightly slanted off, and then also you're going to have to secure the feed pipe from the bottom of this to the master cylinder on your brake unit, and it was all going to be a bit fiddly, especially as I'm doing a lot of this on my own, to basically fasten this up from inside the car while holding it on the outside of the car and to stop it turning and everything else. So basically now the system is, these are going to have holes in. You're going to be able to secure these the reservoirs onto this plate here. Once they're all mounted onto the plate nicely, you're going to be able to attach the feed pipes. You'll be able to feed the feed pipes through the holes which will be made here, and that will go straight through into the cabin. And then once all that's done, you'll be able to drop this down onto the top and bolt it in, and then it won't go anywhere. As you can see, it's kind of cut out to fit the recess there as well. And I think it looks quite nice. It's all straight as well. It'll hold the reservoirs straight and level, nice and secure, and the whole thing will be removable. So that's the plan. I've made this quick template out of cardboard. It's the easiest way to make anything. You can see here it's got a little cutout for the recess. It's also got one on this side as well.
So we'll just make this out of steel now. This is currently made out of cereal box. Fits in there very nice. Took a little bit of time to make. But yeah, we'll cut that out of steel and then we'll fit it in, put some holes in, and then we'll start putting the captive nuts onto the chassis. Brilliant. So here we have the cardboard template. We've just transferred that into steel and I've just cut that out of the steel. So that's it now. We're just ready for folding. Make sure we fold it the right way. And then we'll offer it up to the car and see what it looks like.
So unfortunately I lost my original footage of me creating the captive nuts, but you can see here in this picture this is the final product. We've got all three reservoirs nicely lined up, brake front, brake rear, and the clutch. Clutch cylinder is just slightly bigger than the other two. But this whole panel is removable. You can see just in the middle there of the reservoirs you've got two bolts, two 8mm bolts, black hex head, kind of low profile, so it just makes it look a bit sleeker. But that whole unit is removable, and underneath there we have the three holes that allow the feed lines from these reservoirs to the pedal box to go through. You'll see, I'll just drop a picture in here, the captive nuts were made in exactly the same way as I made the ones for the fire extinguishers and the navigator's footrest inside the car. Just some round tube with a M8 nut that was welded into the top. The bar was cut to the right length and just kind of linched off to profile the panel correctly, and then just welded in, and that's it. It's a strong unit, it's not going anywhere, and it's completely removable. So that's it, job done, and onwards and upwards. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.